Hey guys, One Hit Wonder here for another edition of Plugged In Short Circuit. Well, E3 2016 is in the bag, and we got a taste of what we are about to see from the future of gaming for the next year, and, you know, it's always an exciting thing to see new things and all that, but what did we learn from E3 2016? What did we get from E3 2016? Well, we learned quite a few things, actually. I would actually say there are three major things that I noticed from E3 2016 that was a big trend or thing that was pretty big in terms of the future of gaming going forward from here. One was VR. There was definitely a major push from the publishers, the developers, for virtual reality, and you could see that in all the press conferences because a bunch of them were talking about how their game's going to be using VR, how they're going to be making games for VR. Like, you got all these tech demos. Surprisingly, I think EA was the only one that didn't really have any VR type stuff, but the other major ones did have some instance of VR talked about in terms of games, versions of games, tech demos, extra features for specific games. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. And you know, a lot of them were talking using like Oculus as an example. Now let me make it clear. I did like Oculus. I still kind of do. Without Oculus, I wouldn't be making this video right now talking about VR. Oculus was a Kickstarter, and it, for lack of a better word, it kickstarted this whole VR thing. It was the first major attempt at VR since, I don't know, I mean, I'm not talking about like the old school VR, like the Virtual Boy. That was a disaster. And of course, those VR things you saw at Disney Quest, rest in peace Disney Quest in Orlando, Florida. But this was the first major attempt, and it did get kickstarted, and it was definitely advertised towards gamers for gaming. And the way he showed it, the way he proposed it, it looked very practical, very good. And in fact, it did become a great product, and it was definitely the catalyst to get the VR train rolling. But the problem arose when Facebook bought Oculus. Now, initially when they bought Oculus, everyone was freaking out, like, what could Facebook possibly want Oculus for? And then I'm here sitting like, well, it doesn't seem that bad, because now they did accomplish what they might have wanted to do, is sell out and get a bunch of money. And I also thought, oh, Facebook's got resources that'll help them get them to consumers faster. And yeah, and like I said, this is one of the big first VR headsets that would be available for consumer purchase. So that's another thing Oculus did very well at, and kind of started this whole VR craze, because they made it for consumers. But being bought out by Facebook, it didn't initially look that bad to me, but now I'm starting to see the ramifications of the Facebook buyout. It is very clear to me that Facebook does not care about gaming, or does not care about using Oculus as mostly a gaming peripheral. They are looking at using it in a much more bigger way. What those ways are is not very clear to me, but they are pushing it towards more social media usage. Obviously, Facebook being one of the biggest social media platforms out there. Now, whether or not Facebook wants to use Oculus to further their private information gathering, their data gathering, like say I'm looking at this TV. Hey, it's a Samsung TV. Hey, he's looking at it. Us at Facebook will sell this information to advertisers and make sure they push their ads for Samsung TVs at your face. That's like a doomsday scenario, I guess, but they made it clear that it was not going to be used primarily for gaming anymore. That was going to be one thing. And another reason that was the case was the fact that they were trying to push this Oculus store. And the problem with it was going to have exclusive games. It was going to be a DRM, the headset was going to be a DRM locked to this store. You couldn't buy games on Steam and use your Oculus headset, which ruffled the feathers of every PC gamer, saying this is a horrible idea. This is the consoleification of PC, which is something PC gamers, PC users never, ever want to hear. I don't want to hear it either. DRM will always hurt the consumer. It always has, it always will. And it will lead to piracy. People pirate because you try to force this restrictive DRM, this digital rights management, onto the consumer. It is not consumer friendly. It does not help keep your sales. It just does not. And here, Facebook wanted to do it. And then you have competitors that start to rise from the success of Oculus. Most notably the HTC Vive, when they partnered with Steam. The Vive has been shipping, has been selling, and people have been loving it. The Oculus has had problems shipping their product, and some people are saying, well, Oculus is now losing to Vive because Vive has those controller things. Oculus ships with an Xbox controller saying, oh, we'll get those controller things, but later. That's a problem. Vive already has it. Why would I want an Oculus with an Xbox controller when I can get the Vive, the headset, that is also going to be open. It's not going to be restricted. You can buy a game here and play it on the Vive. You can buy a game there and play it on the Vive. And no problems. Oculus is saying, oh, you want to buy your games here. You can only play your games here. No. PC gamers are smarter than that. PC people are smarter. Even general consumers are smarter than that. And recently they did announce that they sneakily ditched that DRM thing, but they didn't make it public, and I can guarantee you it's because of the uproar of the community that made them change their minds. Not because they did it out of the kindness of their hearts. No way. But still, if that is true, that's still a good thing. That's very good. But anyway, I don't hate Oculus. I like Oculus. They started this thing. I just hate what it has become under Facebook. Unfortunately, the warning signs were there when Facebook bought them. A lot of people didn't see them. But now that the red flags are popping up, people are seeing them. And it's not good. But yeah, it looks like the gaming industry, though, is going full steam ahead with VR, and it'll be interesting to see what they can come up with after these tech demos. I think next year we will be seeing a lot more concrete examples of what we can expect from VR, from Oculus, from Vive stuff, and all that jazz. Number 2, and this is mostly about one publisher in particular, a developer publisher, Microsoft, in the fact that they were all about cross-platform play, cross-platform buy with their press conference. And we're starting to see that more and more from Microsoft and and I think a little bit from Sony. We will start seeing that. And obviously Steam has been doing it for a while with their Steam Play thing, but Microsoft is going all in on this, and they are, they're trying to win back their PC user base, which they completely disregarded with Games for Windows Live and Games for Windows platform, which was a huge failure. But it is nice to see that Microsoft is doing this. Whether or not it's a good idea is yet to be seen, though, because the press conference had this thing saying it's going to be Windows 10 and PC and Xbox exclusive. Great, but why does that give me a reason to buy an Xbox over building or buying a PC when a PC is objectively better, guys? It's objectively better. I'm sorry, I'm a PC fanboy, but look at the stats, I guess. But it's interesting that they are actually doing this, and I love to see that they are, because now I can play some of these Xbox games. Whether or not they're going to do some of the shooters, though, to make it more fair between people playing controller and PC and mouse is yet to be seen. But it definitely seems like Phil Spencer gets it. It seems like he understands what people are saying when they want more PC support for, from Xbox, from Microsoft and all that. The one thing I am trying to wrap my head around, and it's something I think is going to come up later on when they start doing this more and more, is how can they justify keeping Xbox Live Gold $50 a year, a $50 price tag per year to have. There's going to come a point where when the console online players are going to go, wait a minute, the PC people don't have to pay to use the Xbox Live Gold features. Why are we still paying to use it? Why wouldn't I just switch to a console that I can just play for free online? Of course, minus, the typical ISP money you pay to get internet and stuff like that per month. But I think this is going to be a question that's going to start rising up because they have confirmed that none of the PC will not have to pay any money to get the features of Xbox Live and stuff like that. So what I think Microsoft has to do to convince these console players to have a good reason to keep paying $50 a year for gold is they're going to have to give them exclusive stuff. I'm sorry, but the games for gold thing doesn't count. Because some of these games they're picking aren't necessarily good for everybody or whatever, or that expensive anymore maybe. But I feel like they need to incentivize paying for gold more because I don't know why I haven't heard it more, but I guarantee these console players are going to question why they are still paying for gold if people are buying the games for PC and playing online for free when the console players have to pay money per year on gold. I think it's something Microsoft is going to have to address. And I really hope that they make Xbox Live Gold free. Obviously, they laid the groundwork for how to do online gaming on consoles. Xbox Live kind of laid the blueprint on how to do that. But the fact they're still making people pay yearly for it when, if these same games are going to come out for PC and the PC players don't have to pay for it is a asinine thing. And something I think the console players are going to have to raise a fuss about. Or I think they should raise a fuss about. But anyway, that was the second major thing that looks like cross-platform play is starting to become more accepted. If Microsoft is accepting cross-platform play, cross-buy for platforms, Sony will be following soon. Of course, Sony's been doing it with the PS3, PS4, and the Vita. Of course, they kind of pretty much abandoned the Vita because they still don't know how to beat Nintendo at the mobile gaming market or something like that. And now, major part number 3, which is something I'm more worried about or concerned about than the other parts. And that is the mid-generation console revisions. And I'm talking specifically about, the PS4, the rumored PS4 Neo, the confirmed Xbox One S, and the Project Scorpio, which we'll probably get more information about that next year. Now, the Xbox One S is technically a little bit better. It's going to have 4K gaming or Blu-ray stuff, which, frankly, that might be a little hard to do. Well, not for Blu-ray, though, but for gaming, it can't even get to 1080p most of the time. It's always at like 900p or something. But, or not, I don't know. But I'm a little concerned because are they phasing out console generations? I think, I hope not, because the thing about the console generations has always been that each console generation would perform consistently, they would perform consistently. As in, all the games would always work for these consoles. Now, are we getting to the point where they're making new revisions of the same console, where one's going to perform better than the old revision? Or is it like, oh, we're going to make games for this revision over that one? We've seen it with the Nintendo 3DS. When Nintendo made the new 3DS, there are some games that only worked for that and not the old Nintendo 3DSs, which is stupid. But it had to be done because the new 3DSs had technology superior than the old ones. But I don't like it. I do not like that idea. And it seems like that's going to become more and more of a thing with the consoles. No longer these long generations. It's going to be like semi-generations between consoles. And I don't like the idea that we're treating consoles like phones now, phone revisions. I got to give Apple some crap for starting this phase because they've been coming out with a new iPhone every single year. And every half year they've been coming out with like a 6S or 7S or 5S or whatever. that I think has kind of driven this shift in the gaming industry now, where they're trying to like make revisions to the same console, and it's gonna segment the user base, and I don't like that. Microsoft has stated that each of the games being made for the console now, it will work consistently on all three: the Xbox One, the Xbox One S, and Project Scorpio when that comes out. But I don't think it's always going to be the case. And I don't want to treat consoles like phones. They're completely different things. And just because Apple releases a phone every year, like an iPhone 6, iPhone 7, which is probably coming out in the fall, that doesn't mean I buy a new iPhone every single year. For one, cell phone companies are kind of pushing for that because, they're doing their leasing thing, which, frankly, I think leasing a cell phone is the most idiotic thing because they're not freaking cars, guys. These don't cost $10,000, $20,000. These are phones, which cost like $500 if you don't get a contract or unlocked phone or something like that. It's not the same. I don't like that. And, I'm content with having like my iPhone 6. I don't need an iPhone 8 right now or iPhone 7. Granted, when I go to upgrade, I'll get an iPhone 7, but I'm not, like, when they announce it, I'm not rushing out the door making my pre-orders already. And these consoles are going to be priced at like $400, $300. I don't want to have to buy one every year. I want to keep my console. I just do not like the idea of segmented console generations now. I don't like the idea of a new console coming out that is anything different than being like a slim model. I don't want to see, like, I'm fine if it's like a redesign, like it's a slim model. I'm not really fine that if a single like thing is changed of like the Xbox One to the S, like if there's a graphics card change or something like that. I don't really like that. It seems they're following the PC though, but the PC is different where you can just upgrade whenever you want, or it's not this. The PCs are totally customizable. It's user discretion of when you want to upgrade, if you have the money, how much you want to spend, and all that. The consoles, I just don't like the idea of new generations being phased out and just getting a new remodel like every other year or something like that. I don't like that idea. It seems like they're just taking a cue from the cell phone industry, the phone industry, and I don't want to see the lifespan of these consoles turn into like 1 or 2 years. I want to see them go on as they've been going on for like 5 or 6. I know the landscape's always changing. And I may be blowing this out of proportion. It could be less worse than I'm making it, but I just don't like that. I don't like that inevitable trend of having to rebuy a console every year or something like that. And it's just, if you're gonna do that, you might as well just buy a PC and future-proof it to get those 6 years out of it. I mean, my PC still has like an ancient CPU by now, but still runs most games very well. I do want to build a new PC though, but then I could wait a little. But anyway, that's what I have to say about that. I'm not the biggest fan, but it seems like we're getting this idea that the manufacturers, the publishers are starting to get this idea that we need to make like mid-quels. Like, it's like a mid-quel to a sequel or something like that. Like, say I have one movie, then I have a mid-quel and then a sequel. The middle one is the Xbox One S or the Scorpio or whatever. And then the next console generation is that. It's not really the best. I don't know. Not too thrilled. But anyway, those are the 3 major points, and that's E3 2016. I know there's a lot. There's a ton of stuff that I could get. There's a ton of stuff that happened at E3, and there's no possible way I can cover it all. But that's why I saw E3 2016. That's the kind of major points I saw that rubbed off on me through this thing, and it showed me a lot of things that are coming out next year. It's going to be a great year for gaming, as always, and I love to see what's coming next, and we'll love to see what's coming next until E3 2017, and then we do the whole cycle again, the showcase of what's to come, and it's always nice to be surprised, always nice to see what they have planned. But until then, it's going to be an awesome year in gaming. Until next year, we will see what they have planned. Of course, we will see what they have planned next year at E3 2017. But until then, we have an awesome year of gaming ahead of us. Thanks for watching. I'm One Hit Wonder, and I will see you next time.